Hello, James. How are you? Great to have you on board. You okay?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yourself?
I'm awesome, thank you. It's lovely and warm over here in sunny Wolverhampton. Guys, those of you watching, we are live streaming all over the place today because I just felt you guys had to hear this story about how amazing James has achieved so much growth through his business in such a short space of time. If I get my words out, in such a short space of time, we were blown away. And I just thought, you know what, we have to go live with this. So, James, tell us whereabouts you are. Where are you live streaming from?
I'm based in deepest Somerset, so we're close to Bath, Bristol and Wells as a business. We're kind of located between all three.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about you. I mean, how long have you been in business? How did it start? Tell us a little bit of background.
So I've been in a estate agency since, I guess, the late 1990s, 1996, 1997. Started as a junior for a local independent agency. Worked for a couple of different companies until I went to manage an estate agency in a place called Magna, which is near Bristol, back in the year 2000. Managed the business there for 5 years, and then kind of reached a point where I wanted to kind of continue within that business, but I just didn't really have the opportunity to kind of progress from being the manager. And in my infinite wisdom, I decided it'd be a good idea to set up my own estate agency at the age of 25 or whatever it was. So it was very much hand to mouth. It was sell the car, rent the house out, move back in with the parents, set up the business from a dining room, and kind of the business evolved and existed from there, really.
So that was a really big step then, wasn't it? And how long ago was that?
That was 2005, August 2005. So we're almost 20 years old as a business now.
God, it's hard to believe 2005 is 20 years ago. That in itself is scary. But
yeah.
And obviously, you got to a certain point in business. And talk to me about that. You've done 20 years in. You know, let's go talk to a year ago. Where did you get to? How was it? Were you on the tools? Were you busy? Where were you at the year ago?
Yeah. So the evolution of the business was kind of like very much hand to mouth when it first started. It took me 11 months to get from being, I guess, 20,000 quid overdraft starting the business. I got something like 18,450 quid overdrawn, and I was very much going to the co-op trying to buy mugs of coffee and stuff, thinking, can I actually afford this? And then the business started to turn itself around, and we were dealing primarily with sales back in 2005, and the business kind of grew quite quickly for a couple of years on the sales side of things until the recession hit, and then it was just not pleasant at all. It was really difficult. It was very hard to kind of even just to pay myself and pay the one guy that was working with me at the time. So we started to deal with lettings in the middle of 2008 when the recession kicked, and it was very much the accidental landlord, people that had owned properties that they were trying to sell, or developers that owned properties they were trying to sell that they weren't able to move on. And we were then kind of advising them to rent their properties out. And it was very much kind of finding you a tenant, and then we'll let them stay for a year or two, let the market recover, then it'll come back into sales and this kind of thing. So we started doing lettings many, many years ago, but in a very kind of almost hand-to-mouth kind of setup. And we did that for, I guess, 5, 6, 7 years. We were growing. We were kind of getting 2 landlords. We might lose 1. We might get 3. We might lose 4, this kind of thing. And we didn't really progress, I guess, for about 10 years. So it was a decent business. It was kind of existing and evolving, but it was very, very hard work. And I was very much in the business, working on the tools, doing everything. And I mean, like, stuff that I wouldn't even want to tell you that I was doing running the business. So it was very much like that, and it's really been like that for I'm guessing say about 15 years.
Wow. But you've always been very salesy. You are a salesy person, aren't you? So it's not like you don't know how to sell, you're not a salesy person. You are a salesy person, but somehow you managed to get yourself stuck in the weeds, so to speak, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And I'm great at generating business. I'm great at client relationships, but the rest of it I'm pretty bad at, if I'm honest with you. I very much kind of, I'd walk into a room and kind of smash the place up and walk out the other side and leave the rest of it to the rest of the staff. And that's kind of the way I've always been. I've been very good at kind of bringing business in, but then the back end of things you get yourself caught up in. And that was the problem that I had as a business. We were kind of wanting to progress and wanting to move forward. But I think part of it was probably the processes that we had in place within the business that was holding me back in terms of how I could actually move forward within the existing business we had.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? They do say in business that eventually the things that you hang on to means you become the bottleneck. And that's so true. You know, you say, right, I'm only going to do the sales, or I'm going to do the admin, or I'm going to only ever do this. And in the end, you actually stop the business growing because you can only do so much, and you've got so much other stuff to do as well. And in the end, we all sort of stagnate. Now,
Well,
we're here to talk about your amazing success. You've added how much in the last 12?
It's now in the region of £650,000.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And it's been the biggest growth has been really in the last 4 or 5 months. And it's been partly, it's been due to many different factors, I would say. It's not just one isolated incident or one isolated change we've made within the business. We've made several different changes, and it's now almost monthly we're able to kind of progress the business and grow it without actually having to significantly alter the business that much.
It's amazing. I mean, we're sitting here in a time when, people are saying there's no landlords out there, there's no properties out there, it's difficult to get new instructions. The marketing's not working like it used to. We've got gazillions of tenants looking for properties, and it's not a fun place to be at the moment, the letting sector. So to achieve growth of 650,000 just over a year is absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's true testament to yourself, James, really, and how determined and motivated and focused you've been. But just go back to the beginning here, because I think I can remember first talking to you right in the early days, and it was just like, we're rural. It's different for us. We're in a place where it's very difficult to grow like that. But you've actually made it happen. How did you deal with those mental challenges of from I can't to I can? What made you make that difference?
Yeah. Well, I think from the very start when we first spoke, and this was many years ago, because it was revolving around the tenant fee ban, which was, when was that?
2018, 19.
2019. So the time that I decided to sign up with you guys was very much, I was very much in the mindset of I want to progress, I want to do well, I want to make the most of myself, or I want to make the most of the business. And if I'm brutally honest with you, when I signed up, I thought, well, I'm going to chuck some money at this, leave it be, and you guys will do the rest. And it was kind of
how's that going?
It was one of those that I was thinking, well, that's fine, chuck some money at it and it'll work. But that's not the way it works. You've got to kind of work within the business, and you've got to make changes and alterations. And I have to say that the first couple of months, it was a massive learning curve for me, because I had to extract myself out of the business to then focus on what was important in terms of making the changes that would make the difference. And I think we got to say 2 or 3 months in, and I'd actually done nothing at all. So actually the growth has ramped up quite quickly, because I've started to kind of embrace the changes that I need to make, and to take myself out of the business. That was the most essential bit. And without doing that, you're just not going to progress yourself. And I'm now at a stage where people are contacting me, asking me what to do, and asking me what they should do within their businesses. And it's one of those things that it's gone completely full circle. So it's really interesting to see that people are starting to kind of analyze and look at how businesses are run in a different way, and they're taking note of that.
So just going back to the beginning, because I think you missed a little bit out there. And I think, like you've just said, people are coming to you now and asking you. At the beginning, I remember a conversation we had. One of the things that really started to change your mindset was actually being around other people that had already done it, to make you realize, well, this is just stupid. I just need to do it. I just need to get off the tool. I need to make the change. I need to do whatever to do it. And there's a power in that, isn't there? Being around other people that have done it and giving you like a kick up the arse, so to speak, or however.
Oh, there is, yeah, there is. And it's one of those reasons why, if I'm brutally honest with you, we had this conversation, I'm guessing 6, 7, 8 months ago, where I committed my kind of business future for the next 3 years to you guys with a plan. I've got a number, I've got a plan, I've got a place that I want to go. And this all started within the first, say, 6 months, where you're completely right. You're looking around at all this success. You're looking at all these people doing well. I'm very competitive by nature, and I think part of that has kind of grasped me, and it's got me. And I was even at the point where, when we have accountability meetings with you guys, I was kind of, I'll be brutally honest, at least 2 of them I dipped out of, because I was embarrassed that I hadn't done what I should have done. And it pushed me into that situation that I had to make the changes, and I had to embrace what I wanted to do. But the minute you embrace those changes, and you get yourself on board with it, then within a month or 2, you see the changes financially, and you see the business progress. And suddenly, some of the stuff I'm doing now, I wouldn't have dreamt of. I literally would not have dreamt of a year and a half ago. And I'm now in a situation where I'm extracting myself further and further out of my business, to the point that the stuff that I was doing a year and a half ago, to me now, it's just not even on the agenda. I'm sat in an office without a telephone. I don't generally see people. I have very limited time to see people, and the people I do see are the ones that are going to be kind of communicating with me to deal with in future business. So it's just a complete change.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I think that mindset is so powerful. It's from I can't to I can. It's from I won't to it will. And once you made that switch, and rather than just saying, oh, I'm too busy, to actually it's going to happen, then things started to make a change. But of course, it starts by making changes in your business itself, doesn't it? Just give us a bit of a clue. What have you done? I remember you sending me a screenshot, because you use PayProp, don't you? Is that right? PayProp?
Indeed, yes. Yeah.
You're sending me a screenshot. It was like, look, our revenue's just literally gone double. It's just like there was a graph like this and boom, double, literally in 1 month. And it's just like, people don't see how this is possible, and don't believe how this is possible. Now, for those of you watching, we're going to be doing something called Agent Rainmaker Live on the 7th and 8th of November. So there'll be a link somewhere around here. If not, just type in agentrainmaker.live and go and check it out. And you're going to hear loads of stories, just like James here, of people that have done exactly the same sort of thing, how they did it, how they added revenue, how they increased from like 300 to 600, 600 to a million, whatever the case may be. Because, guys, this is happening now in the letting agency space. People are making big differences and big changes to their business by really just making small changes. And I wanted James to come and talk to you, because his story is just phenomenal, how he's really just £650,000 in a year. Most people just wouldn't believe it. And that's the big challenge that we have. So give us a bit of a clue. What's some of the things that you did to really make a change in your business?
So some of the exact percentage now is 148% increase in revenue.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely.
That is crazy.
So
yeah,
and I'm kind of in a situation now where I'm operating the business on a completely different level. My mindset is different. The way I'm kind of communicating in business is different. I see opportunity where often you think, oh, bugger that, I haven't got time, I can't be bothered. The amount of kind of conversations and phone calls I'm having with people now by approaching things in different ways is just like a completely different thing. So one of the biggest things I've seen value within the RX membership is actually communicating with the other members within the group. And some of the biggest changes I've actually taken from talking to them, looking at what they're doing and adapting their changes within my business. Because when I first joined this is little old me. It's my business. I'm not kind of sat here with hundreds of other directors or other owners of the business. It's just me. It's just little old James doing his thing. And I was always kind of thinking, well, can I do that? Because we haven't got a HR thingy, and we haven't got this, and we haven't got that. And it's just adapting the changes to make the business run in your own way. So we've made changes to our management fee structures. We've made changes to things that we charge for that we don't. We've taken away certain costs and elements of costs that we don't need to pay for anymore. And we've just looked to streamline the business and just structure it in a different way. But the biggest thing, the absolutely biggest thing, is change of mindset. And I'm chatting to some people at the moment that are in a very similar situation, saying, well, I haven't got time and I can't do this and I can't do that. And I think if you just keep doing the same thing, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to change things. You have to get up and change that yourself to actually see that you can move from position A to position B.
And I think so much of that implies to getting off the tools. And I was just having this conversation earlier actually about getting off the tools, because people say, I've got to do it because it's only me that can do it. No one else can do it as good as me. I'm the person that does this. It needs to stay like that. And you end up being the bottleneck. You end up being the problem. So why don't people let go of the tools? Why don't they let go of doing these things? Why can't they step back and work on the business? Because that's what you're saying. You now work on the business, which means you can see the opportunities, create new services, create new products, offer new things, help people that you possibly couldn't help before because you've now got the time to look at it and to do it. And the biggest number one reason, I think, is because they actually don't know what else they will do with their time if they let go. They don't know that. Obviously, everyone talks about golf course and holidays, but I'm talking work-wise. What else would you do if you didn't do what you're doing? And so it comes from hanging out with people that are doing other stuff. Because when you're sitting there doing the emails and the phone calls and someone says, oh, I've just made 100 grand doing that, you think, what am I doing? Playing with these emails and things. I need to be over there making that 100 grand. And all of a sudden, there's a desire to let go of the tools and go and do it. And you don't see the cost of that bit of software to do that thing, or outsourcing that thing, or that person's going to cost 20k a year, whatever. You don't see that as a massive cost because you make £100,000 over there. And of course, that 100,000 becomes another 100,000, becomes another 100,000. Next thing you know, you're at 650. But it's letting go of those tools. Would you agree with that statement? Letting go of the tools.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. And a year and a half ago, this is no word of a lie, I was sending photos to my staff on our WhatsApp group of me emptying a property, sticking rubbish in the back of my van at 8 o'clock in the evening, taking photos of defrosted bloody vegetables in the back of a freezer, from that a tenant had left in a property that I'm taking down to the tip. Crazy madness. And I'm now in a situation where I'm extracting myself further and further outside of the business, offloading various different tasks to other people within the business so that they can flourish and they can progress, and I can focus on the things that actually make the business money. It's just a complete change in mindset, and it's getting yourself, you get yourself so ingrained in thinking you need to do the bare bone basics, but the bare bone basics may be paying the bills, but they're not helping the business progress. And if you're at a stage where you're in a medium term of business, we've been trading now for say 20 years. I'm going to be working for the next 15, 20 years, I guess. So I'm in the medium term of my business. If you want to structure the business to sell it or to exit or even to have a retirement plan in place, if you're not doing this kind of stuff, you're actually just thinking hand to mouth, and that's no good. That's not a business plan. That's just a from then to now kind of situation. And if then is okay, but now isn't, you've got a problem. You need to make some changes.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things, if you guys watching this are thinking, how do I surround myself with these people? Come along to Agent Mick Alive in November. Honestly, it's going to be an amazing. Did you go last year, James? Did you come along?
I did, yeah.
You did. So you know what it's like. It's very loud. It's loads of fun. It's the only event of the year that is exclusively for letting agents that want to grow their business. It's a whole 2 days of ideas and different tactics and strategies and techniques to add revenue, add layers, grow your business, scale, get new landlords, get new clients, create additional services, all those different things that James has done and other people like him have done. But more importantly, as James just said, you're going to be surrounded by nearly 400 letting agents that are really all working together. And that's the power, isn't it? Just really just hanging out with the people and making that difference. I think that comes from giving you the belief. And I think that's one of the big things is the belief. Was there a point where you weren't sure this was right for you and then you tripped over to actually believing? And when was that?
I've had well, as I think I've alluded to on the WhatsApp group before, this hasn't been easy and straightforward for me. It's been kind of one of those that I've put everything into it, and I mean everything. The longest hours, the most effort. I've been at my highest high and my lowest low during the course of this time. But when I look back at it, I don't know myself. I don't know the business. I don't know myself. Everything has completely changed, and it's opened up so many different avenues within business and in life and in terms of opportunity to me. It's hugely different. And I was traveling along 2 years ago thinking, well, this is all good. I'm just going to do this and so on and so forth. And don't get me wrong, life was very good then, but life then compared to now is completely different. So the overall turnover of the business is more than double. We had a good business already. So when you look at the already to the now, it's a very good business, and it now gives us so many more opportunities to grow, so many more opportunities to kind of reward the staff for what they're doing, and just really just enhance the offering we have as a company to our clients. And
you've touched on something very important, Ace. You've had 140% increase in revenue, but what it's given you now is a different way of running a business. Just talk about that, because I think a lot of letting agents are a little bit hand to mouth. How do I pay the fat bill? How am I going to pay the wages? How am I going to pay myself? The average salary from the people I've asked in the UK of letting agency business owners around 45,000 a year, which is just not enough. How does it feel now to be running a business where you can do those extra special things, make the office nice, take time out yourself, focus on the valuable things, give more money to your staff, team building events, things like that? How does that feel? Because it's a very different type of business to run to what a traditional letting agent would be.
Oh, it is. It's completely different. And it's one of those that having the opportunity to reward your staff, or having the opportunity even to reward yourself with time off or less hours or whatever it might be, is invaluable. And as a company, we're investing in different systems, but we're investing in different systems to benefit the business. But then I'm also spending a lot of time investigating other avenues of business. So we've now got multiple income streams, whereas previously we were just sales and lettings. That was it. We've now got 6 different income streams within the business. And we're rolling out different income streams all the time. And when I sit down and say to the staff, well, hey guys, we've got this income stream now and you can earn this from this, they're like, oh, wow, fantastic. So we're actually kind of offering back to the staff within the business additional opportunity. But it's one of those things that until you realize or you understand how you can kind of adapt and change the business, you do just work very much, well, we do sales, well, we do lettings, that's it. And you just need to open your mindset in terms of different opportunity within the industry.
It's interesting because over the years, we've been doing this a little while, and we've had so many people say to us, Sally, I've been doing this 20 years. There's not a lot you can teach me. And so many people have been doing this for such a long time. But I always feel like the letting agency world is like an echo chamber. We're all doing the same thing. We all think we're really out there because we're doing power hour, or we're sending out leaflets or void letters, or we're all sort of doing the same thing. And what you're describing and what you've done is you've stepped outside of that bubble, outside of that circle, and started to look at new ways and different things to do, which is different to what everyone else is doing. So for those that are maybe listening, thinking, I've been doing this 20 years, you can't teach me anything. What you've done is really different to what the market's doing, isn't it, James? Very different.
Oh, it is, and it's no coincidence that lots of estate agencies and letting agencies are actually shrinking, because we're all in the same situation. Costs are going up, petrol, insurance, liabilities increasing. You're getting hammered left, right, and centre with all these different legislative bits and pieces. And I can understand and I can see how businesses are draining, because they're struggling just to keep up with the day to day. But unless you adapt and change, you're either going to stay the same or you're going to go under. And I think people need to listen out loud to this, because this isn't going to go away. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And if you don't adapt your company and address it, certain companies are going to go this way and other companies are going to go that way. And this is one of the biggest things I've got to see in the last few months, really. It's interesting to see that when I chat to other business owners, be it within my local area or even out of the area, giving them advice and so on, some of them just they just don't get it. They don't understand that there are so many opportunities out there, because all they know is the same old thing. But if you keep doing the same old thing, you're going to stagnate, and you cannot be reliant on people picking up the phone and ringing you or walking in to see you. That ain't going to happen, because the world is changing. The way that people deal with people is changing. So you need to adapt the way that the business is running.
It is constantly evolving, constantly changing. I mean, you touched on something there. All we did was sales and lettings. And I find it bizarre that most letting agents, all they do is lettings and management, maybe sales, that's it. And yet there's actually about 16 other different types of services you could add that could, add an extra however many noughts to your business, different additional income streams, additional revenue, profit. And it's just leaving that on the table. And it's just absolutely, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, it is. And I'm at a stage now where, if you'd have said to me 2 or 3 years ago, well, you're not going to have your own office and you're not going to have multiple offices, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. I'm now in a situation where this lovely new office is going to be somebody else's office in the next few weeks, because I'm moving again. I'm moving to another premises to take myself further out of the business, because the opportunity I've got at the moment, I've got this list 3 pages long of additional things I can do. So I'm now thinking, Christ, bloody hell, I need to be cracking on with that stuff. I need to stop doing this. I need to go and do that stuff. So it's just, again, it's a change of mindset in terms of what you're going to, where you want to be in the future, and what's your primary interest, really.
So 650,000 increased revenue, 140%. What is the next thing for you then, James? Where are we going next? What's happening?
The 3-year goal was always £1 million. And given what's going on at the moment, if it all works, it's going to happen without any problem whatsoever. So the next step after that, I don't know. But it's one of those that one of the biggest things for me, and one of the biggest takeaways from joining you guys, is the change of mindset. I've always had what I feel is the strength and the ability and the hunger, but when you couple that with the knowledge and the difference of outlook, that's the biggest thing. And when you're meeting like-minded people, that's invaluable, because I know from being an estate agent or a salesman by heart, I wouldn't really walk down my high street and knock on my fellow estate agent's door and say, hello, mate, let's chat about business and stuff, because he's either going to tell me to disappear or he's going to tell me nothing at all. But working within the Agent Rainmaker group, you can chat to like-minded individuals, you can chat to fellow business owners. And the very first time I joined, I spent all my time buzzing around the big ones, buzzing around the Sue Gidneys and Tom Stone and so on, listening to them, chatting to them, finding out what they're doing, and just kind of almost sucking the information out of them so that I could do the same. And now I get people messaging me, asking me for the same kind of thing. So it's an invaluable community to be part of. And I've taken probably more value from that, if I'm honest with you, than implementing some of the strategy, because the changes you can make once you've scaled your business or you've optimized it to some shape, degree or form, by chatting to those guys just elevates the business massively. And some of the strategies they've discussed with me in terms of acquisitions and coaching and all that kind of stuff has just been a complete game changer for me.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I actually think there's 3 things. So there's action, there's knowledge, and the third one is belief. Because you can give people knowledge, but they don't take action. You can give people knowledge and they're the sort of person that takes action, but they don't quite believe it. So I think you need knowledge, action, and belief. And the belief comes from the other people. Once you've seen 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 people do the thing that you're scared of doing, that fear of doing that thing becomes feeling stupid for not doing that thing. And that's when you'll take action. Some people take action straight away. Some people need to speak to 5 people. Some people need to speak to 10 people. Some people need to speak to 15 people. But that community you're talking about really will get you from not doing it to doing it. And yeah, amazing.
And it gives you the confidence to do that as well. That's the primary thing.
It does, gives you that confidence. And that's why we're doing Agent Maker Live this year, guys. So don't forget, go and get your ticket. 2 days in Heathrow, the Marriott Hotel, 2 whole days listening to a gazillion speakers talking about how to grow revenue, how to generate leads, how to add profit, how to scale your business. You're going to meet all the people that have in the last 12 months have added huge amount of revenue to their business. James is going to be there. All the other guys are going to be there. You'll be able to chat to them in the audience, speak to them, network with them. There's a mastermind. You can ask them questions. It's all there. 2 days. If you want to grow your business and scale your business, Agent Maker Live is the place to be. So I am so excited. You excited for Agent Maker Live, James?
I'm buzzing for it. Yeah, it's going to be great.
I think you're going to be picking up some rather big awards as well by the looks of it. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining me here today, James. It's been absolutely amazing to interview. 650,000, 140% increase in just over 12 months. That is amazing. Well done. I can't wait to be talking to you this time next year.
Indeed. Yeah.
Thank you.